What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Golden Dice Podcast. We are on episode number 11, and we've got a great one for you today. Sadly, it is just me. Jack from the team, Brian and Flock, are not able to join us, but we have somebody who more than makes up for that, and probably is all of you are much more excited to hear his voice than mine, of course, as well. But we have a senior game designer, Jeremy Zwirn, and he's a senior game designer on Star Wars Unlimited. Jeremy, how are you doing tonight?
Doing great, Jack. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we were even chatting pre-recording a little bit. You know, we tried to get you on in the old days of the Destiny days, so this feels like a 4 or 5 year journey that I finally can get closure on, you know?
Yeah, same here. It's long overdue. So, a nice journey, I guess. Yeah, my hero has finally gotten to the end of this journey, huh?
Yeah, the it's funny because I believe the first time, and we probably only met I think 2 or 3 times, but the first was at Worlds 2018. It was at the content creator meetup, and I vividly remember it because you walked in. I think at some point I bought you a drink, but then I remember Sir Christopher walking up to you, and you're not, and I don't think you would take offense to this either. You're not an expression guy, but I could tell on your face that you were almost like, "Oh, here's this guy. This guy's coming to talk to me."
Yeah, that was good times. I really appreciate buying that drink. And, yeah, a lot of great memories. So, hopefully, you can create a lot more great memories in the future with Star Wars Unlimited.
Yeah, definitely. As much as I am excited to get the full set, play the game, get cards in my hand. Definitely the events are at the top of my list of what I'm excited for about this game. Seeing everybody again and stuff like that. But one of the things that before we even get into the deep dive of it, I know some Destiny players might recognize your name, but there might be people who are new to FFG or maybe just simply didn't play Destiny. And I want to give you a chance to introduce yourself. What's kind of your background in card games as a player and as a developer or designer.
Sure.
Sorry.
I've been with Fantasy Flight now for almost 9 years. I've worked on numerous game lines. Like you mentioned, Star Wars Destiny was designer on that for about 3 years. I also worked on Arkham Horror LCG for a number of years, as well as Lord of the Rings LCG. Been helping with more of the recent products that have come out with that game line. Also helped a bit with Marvel Champions earlier in that game's life with a little bit of design development work on that. A few other things here there. Now Unlimited is my main focus. A lot of fun to be part of another competitive card game again, especially with the Star Wars IP. And been competitive card gamer for almost 30 years now with Star Wars Magic way back in the day. So I've got a lot of experience and a lot of fun. So definitely looking forward to applying that to Star Wars Unlimited.
What would you say your favorite card game to play was as a player?
Oh, that's a tough one. There's been a lot over the decades now. A lot of great games. I guess clearly there's plenty of awesome Fantasy Flight games. I could go on and on about those ones. So I'll choose one that's not Fantasy Flight just to give a little bit more perspective. I really like the Lord of the Rings trading card game that came out in 2001. That's one of my favorite IPs. So it's just really cool, a lot of innovative, fun stuff, and so that's a game I feel like a blast of the past. That's one I kind of turn to, and I still play every now and then.
And what about one of your favorite ones to work on? The ones that you had listed.
Well, definitely Destiny will always mean a big part of my heart here. That's so much fun to work on that. It's just really cool innovation stuff to be able to work on an IP that you love so much. Also, it's kind of fun to be able to do something very different. Because Star Wars Destiny, as well as Unlimited, is a competitive card game. But you'll work on a cooperative card game is also like learn a lot. It's very different to work on kind of a different end of the spectrum with Arkham Horror and Lord of the Rings LCGs. So I definitely still love to play those games and stay involved with them, and yeah, just kind of still take inspiration from those games and maybe apply them to this game.
Yeah, that's what you you probably are in the very limited realm of people who have worked on a competitive card game with dice. So I think that is something you can hang up and cherish forever.
Yeah, it definitely is a very fun mechanic with that game. It's heart and soul of Star Wars Destiny, and I didn't work on the original design of Destiny, so don't want to take credit for that, but yeah, I think that game was designed very well. It seemed the dice are incorporated pretty seamlessly. They worked really well. It's a card game and dice game instead of just a card game or just a dice game. It blended both of them extremely well. So I was um, yeah, very grateful to be a part of that for a while.
Uh, it, I want to give a little extra background because I feel like you're a humble guy, but you're also not somebody that I feel like FFG randomly picked off the street. What is crazy to me is that doing a little research before we did this interview, I found an article on Fantasy Flight Games website, and it's a blog post all the way back from 2013. And this is crazy to me because there's a few tidbits in there. It talks about you winning the 2013 World Championship for Call of Cthulhu, the card game, and then 2012 with Netrunner and Warhammer card game as well. But what is crazy to me, and I'll need confirmation on this, is that you picked up Warhammer Invasion, the card game, 6 weeks prior to the 2012 FFG World Championship, and you won with that. Is that 6 weeks? Is that correct?
It might have been Netrunner. Both of them I picked up like very soon before that World Championship. I wasn't in board games for quite some time. I got really involved with those and loved exploring all that kind of cool design space there. I kind of put card games off for a little while just to, I don't know, do something a little bit different. And then, yeah, so my buddies really got into some of those LCGs like Netrunner and Orb Invasion. And I tried to resist for a while, but eventually, like, card game at heart, sure, I'll dive in and tend to go all in if I do really like something. So it's like
Yeah.
not just one, but two LCGs kind of at once. So yeah, essentially I hit them up pretty quickly, and I don't know, I got super lucky, I guess, and actually won in 2012 both those championships on the same day. So it was like one of the best days of my life to win not one but two world championships on the same day in two different game lines. It was pretty epic. So and then the following year I played a new card game. My buddies got me into a different card game called Cthulhu LCG. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll try it. And got lucky again. And then the following year, 2014, Conquest had just come out, Warhammer Conquest. Like, wow, this is a really awesome game. And well, got lucky again, and as well as Call of Cthulhu that year as well. And then they're retired. That's enough.
But yeah, and in that article as well for Netrunner, that actually says that was only 2 weeks. So you had 6 weeks for Warhammer and 2 weeks for Netrunner, and that is just insane. And I know you said luck, but that doesn't feel like luck to me.
Definitely somewhat, to be honest. Yeah, definitely. Especially Netrunner, that was a brand new game. It just come out like the month before or 2 months before, roughly. And a lot of people are new. It was a pretty small turnout as a whole compared to what it turned into later on, where you get 300, 400 people playing in World. So that part was it's not like a true test of what the game would become, but yeah, at the time, that's just where people are at, and yeah, I was very fortunate to be able to play in those tournaments and then do so well, and just get that streak where it's just pretty amazing to especially pick up a new game and learn it, and just I don't know, find some of the best decks, and yeah, just get the right pairings or whatnot in the tournaments, and yeah, it was a pretty amazing streak. I was very, very grateful to have that run, and yeah, then I started working on Fantasy Flight soon after the 2014 World Championships.
I actually do think I know a secret recipe to your success in those events and probably some of the other ones as well. But there is a quote that I have from you actually as well, and it says playtesting is key. You have to know your deck inside and out and what it's capable of doing. A bowl of Wheaties never hurt either. So is your pregame do you always have a bowl of Wheaties every time?
My memory is maybe a little foggy here. I don't quite recall that. So yeah, playtesting is pretty key. Yeah, getting your reps in and just learn your deck and on the matchups and all that kind of stuff. So that'll definitely stick to. Yeah, that's good advice.
Well, my first store showdown in Unlimited, I'll be having a bowl of Wheaties that morning, and I'll be sure to reach out to you and let you know how that goes.
Awesome. I'll take Cinnamon Toast Crunch as well. That's fine too.
Oh yeah, okay. I'll do that for the second one. Ideally, I can maybe make two. So we'll do one with Wheaties, one with Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and see where that goes.
Awesome. They'll do you well.
Yeah. Now, I'm curious as well. As you mentioned, you were big into board games before getting into the LCG and then winning a lot of that. And then FFG was like, we have to hire this guy so he stops winning all of our tournaments. But right now in 2023, what are some any card game or board games that maybe you like to play with friends at the office to kind of mix it up? I'm sure you guys are probably living, breathing Star Wars Unlimited almost all the time. But when you do take a break for an hour, what's a game that you all like to play together?
Yeah, we do a ton of limited, but yeah, we like to yeah, take a break every now and then and do something different. Yeah, I still love board games and other card games. I'm just a gamer at heart, so always have and always will be. Um, I know one of the hotter games recently been playing at the office, not a ton, but here or there is board game Keats. That's been a pretty good seller. It's been hard to find recently over the past whatever several months or more. It's a racing game, so it's kind of cool that it does it in a little bit unique way. So, been a little bit a lighter game as a whole. I prefer a little bit deeper games, but I like to shake it up too, and I can play whatever. So that's one that sticks out. I've been playing a bit more recently. I know Xander, or he's been really into One Piece, so he did teach me that card game, and I think we played a couple of games. But yeah, that sounded looked really promising and interesting. So but yeah, some of these dead CGs, I'll bring in some of these older CGs that aren't around anymore, like Lord of the Rings or something like that, just every now and then, just to teach people and show them some of my favorite games in the past.
That's awesome. I love that Xander showed you One Piece as well because Xander's just awesome. I've enjoyed talking to him, but that's the game that I've kind of picked up to kill time until March hits, and I've really been enjoying One Piece. They just had a big ban list that they released and then reverted, so Xander and I had plenty to talk
Oh, really?
about with that. Yeah,
Wow, that's interesting.
yeah, yeah. Interesting is definitely a word you can to use for
Yeah,
that.
reverted right away.
Yeah.
That's strange.
Um, now, I'm not sure. I guess how much you've had the chance to re-listen to Golden Dice since we've kicked off, or any of our podcasts or any of our gameplay. But Brian especially wanted to ask, who have you found the most interesting of the Golden Dice members to watch? Whether it's our gameplay, do you find yourself constantly like, what is Jack doing? What is Flock doing? Why are they playing like this? Is there anybody that constantly you're shaking your head at of our gameplay or our takes?
Yeah, I have watched 3 games, and I don't want to name names, so I'll just stay on even level. I like all 3 equally here, like a
Appreciate it.
parent to their children. Just they're all equally valuable.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you forget about the middle. The youngest you love the most. The oldest is maybe the most successful. The stereotypical breakdown thing. um,
Very diplomatic answer.
yeah. uh, and so, as we had mentioned before as well, many people know you from Destiny. And so, before we jump into Unlimited, I think this could help frame uh, how we perceive that you see Unlimited a little bit as well, kind of how you went into Unlimited. I almost want to set the base because it has been a few years since we heard from you from the Destiny crowd, and so I want to ask, as Destiny came to a close, what was the favorite thing that you designed within the game? Right, it could be a theme, it could be a specific character, event, whatever it might be. But what's something you walked away from saying, I really love that card?
That's a really tough question. There's so many things. I guess maybe we'll talk maybe about a bigger picture thing, like a mechanic. I was pretty proud of plots. I mean, I think early on we had an idea if you have spare points on your team, there's got to be some way to use those, right? So it's like, what could that be? And so I think one thing I was like, we just do like a new card type that just says, 1 to 3 points or something usually, and just does something cool, interesting, just to let you fill out your team to get that full 3 points. Because there are some teams that are only like 29 points. Like, I wish I could get something to make it feel like I'm on even level with the 30-point teams. And see, 1 point could be
Yeah,
a pretty big difference. So yeah, eventually you came up with plots and went through a lot of iterations and stuff. And eventually, yeah, you'll expand upon those quite a bit. Where the first ones and legacies are very straightforward, simple. Just kind of start the game with this additional thing, or not too much, but eventually kept pushing boundaries of what you could do with plots. And I said 9, like, whoa, you had missions where plots that could win you the game. Like, this is your objective right here. Do this thing, blow up the Death Star, or confront the Death Star, and the ultimate win the game stuff. So yeah, I was very proud of how those turned out. I mean, we didn't push them too hard. I mean, we like potentially make these like that tier 1 deck, or maybe not the funnest thing to play against if your opponent have enough interaction with those. But was really proud of as a whole what we did with plots and how they could really be a focus. So sometimes plots are just as important as the characters you chose on your team. Like they could really have a big impact. So that's definitely one thing I was very proud of among many other things. But yeah, that's one thing that really jumps to my mind is plots.
Yeah, I love those. I feel like that completely changed the landscape of Destiny, and yeah, I'm excited to see how that's a similar role with the bases on Unlimited with the epic actions and health costs and all that design space that a little bit similar to plots. Was there something in
Yeah.
Destiny that you feel like you were expecting to be a hit, but it didn't quite land, didn't quite have the power or the synergy that you were hoping?
Um, it's not like the major thing that really sticks out. There's plenty of cards. Kind of wish there would have been um seen more player, or maybe looking back, yeah, maybe it could have been a little bit stronger. I definitely like one of my favorite characters, Thrawn. So at least this had three. Thrawn had saw some play, not a tremendous amount, but mostly because of the Unkar pairing for a little while there, which is a bit oppressive. But then we tried new Thrawn, I believe in set eights. That didn't quite go as well. We're tried to be more of a top-down design, but still hopefully be powerful enough to see some competitive play. But yeah, the game was. I definitely seen the droids and stuff that came out there, so it's like a bit overshadowed by some other cards. So
Yeah,
kind of a bummer to have some really popular characters like that not quite see the relevance that we maybe want as a whole.
it's funny that you say Thrawn because I do remember, I believe it was Nova was the like play a dev, and
Yeah.
you were playing Thrawn card and just like destroying people's lives with it.
Yeah, I definitely had a little bit unfair advantage with some upcoming cards that others didn't have. And of
Yeah,
course, yeah, people had like seen that deck before. It's like, whoa, like you can actually do that. And like,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, definitely those cards not the best cards it developed, but that was
yeah,
early in game's life, so we really learned a lot from them.
yeah. I'm sure, and I love that was so much fun sitting down across from a dev. You guys had some of the new cards and trying to be maybe we got a promo or something. I forget what happened, but that was a lot of fun.
A pack,
A pack,
or
that's what it was
maybe
of the
a
newest set, right?
pack of yeah
Yeah,
upcoming set that wasn't released yet. So it's like, whoa, like
yeah,
so yeah, it has a lot of fun for me just to watch people the ooh and ah to cards I've never seen before. I'd have cards sprinkled throughout my deck that were nobody had seen yet. So I'd love to play, throw one down the table. So everyone's like, whoa, like what is that? Let me see. Can I take a picture of it? Sure. And yeah, if you want a game, give you a pack, and I'd love to watch them open a pack. Let's see what he gets. And yeah, maybe
yeah.
he'll cards that haven't been spoiled yet. Who knows? Like the whole set's right there. We might crack a really cool legendary. Who knows? That would generate a lot of excitement. It was a lot of fun.
I'm 99% sure as people were standing in line, they were trying to organize it so they didn't play against you. They're like, I want the pack. I don't want to play against Jeremy.
Yeah, I heard about that. We had sometimes three or four people, employees playing, and yeah, some employees were just OP or whatnot. They weren't super involved with the game, but
Yeah.
yeah, being full time developer in the game, it definitely has upper leg compared to my coworkers there. So yeah, if you really wanted that pack, it probably was a better idea to play against someone else plenty. But especially if I bring decks like Thronkar.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I guess last little bit from Destiny. Do you feel like there's anything? And you mentioned plots a little bit, so you can stick with that same answer. But is there anything you feel like you carried over to Unlimited? Like it was a big victory, it was a big mistake that you're like, I really have to do this again, or I really should avoid this for the next time.
I'll give you a bigger, wider answer. It'd be like the action system. I just love that thing about Destiny. Just so much fun to have that kind of back and forth all you where I do a thing, you do a thing, and just be able to adapt and react to what your opponent's doing. And just how important sequencing your actions is. Like you have like three really important actions you want to do. Well, which one do you put the highest priority on right now? And then of course that can totally change depending on what your opponent does their very next action. I really love that aspect of Destiny. It's like be really cool to incorporate that in Lumia. So you kind of took a lot of inspiration from that, and so it's been fun to see Unlimited the reception and a lot of Destiny players like, oh yeah, like, right away kind of feel like this is similar to Destiny and definitely in that aspect. So and then yeah, a lot of new players haven't really seen game before with this action system. They're used to you take your whole turn, I'll take my whole turn. They can be like, wow, this is different. This is cool. It's kind of more exciting back and forth. Have one person taking every 10-minute turn. But no, it's usually just 20, 30 seconds action. Now your action, back and forth. I'm really glad we can have the action system here in this game as well because and this game it's also interesting since we have lots of units in this game. Destiny had lots of dice,
Yeah.
so it got really important with sequencing with who you roll in, how you modify your dice, reroll them, whatnot. And in this game we have lots of units, so you can just decide who to attack and what order can be very important, as well as playing cards. Some rounds you play lots of cards once you get to the late game if you build up those resources. And of course, got your leader starting to play with potential actions to use on there and deploying. And so yeah, there's a lot of fun moments with action system trying to decide what should I do now. I got this one ready unit to attack right now, just so my opponent doesn't play events during their next action to blow it up, or during waste because I think they might play a unit. I want to attack and kill that unit after they play it. It's kind of like even just a very simple decision like that can be very tough at times. All trying to predict what your opponent's going to do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Lorcana had released a few months before, and there's some similarities between the two games, but what sets Unlimited just so far apart for me personally is just the back and forth. I love that aspect so much, and I'm so glad that you guys took that from Destiny and keeping that alive with Unlimited. Now, as you were designing, right, there could have been moments of like, what does this game even look like, or the first few iterations before it even went out to play testers that you guys were trying. You weren't totally sure of how this game was going to pan out, but was there a moment where in testing and development and meetings within the company that it kind of clicked for you, or in that moment you're like, this game is going to be awesome, I can't wait for it to hit the shelves, like people are going to love this?
Yeah, there are quite a few moments. I guess the one that really sticks out is the first time we did a full draft in person with the game.
Hmm.
Because from day one, we always wanted to make sure draft and sealed was very high priority in this game, make it very fun, robust environment. So it was like we didn't really know for truly until we tested a full person draft, 8 people sitting around a table and see what it's like. That moment, I'll never forget. That was probably 2.5 years ago now. It was quite some time ago, but I remember even had Nate French here. It was very nice to get even like some executives to sit down and play with us and get feedback directly from play like that. But yeah, just sitting there as the draft is unfolding, they just all the decisions, even with that primitive card pool we had
Yeah.
roughly a set's worth of cards made up, but you haven't really tested too much with them yet. There's still a lot of rough stuff there, but just as a whole, you can tell just like the aspect system, just trying to decide which aspects to go right off the bat. Like yes, like this is working, this is what we want. Like there's a lot of cool choices here. So just being able to do that the first time with the full draft people in person like that is just like yes, that was definitely a moment I'll never forget.
So do you remember who won the first ever Star Wars Unlimited draft?
I don't think we did like a tournament afterward. I think we
To
just
kind of play games, whatever.
just,
Yeah.
just play some games with whoever. I did play Nate, I think, right away afterward. I believe it went 2-0. I remember him asking me how many times have you lost this game? I don't keep track, but yeah, I mean, I win more often I lose, but I don't track. So that's I never remember playing him. Yeah, 2 games. Probably played some other people, but we didn't like set up a round structure to
Yeah.
who won. And a lot of times we played it. It's just just play whoever. We don't need to get too competitive. It's more about just testing and making sure we're
So
learning data through other ways.
yeah, we'll go ahead and officially, unofficially crown you the winner of the first ever Unlimited draft. We'll go ahead and we'll give
Uh,
it to you.
we do some in-office tournaments, so like we'll definitely set those up. Like 1 or 2 per set, just to test that out. See how tournaments might go. How long rounds might take, and yeah, just to
Yeah.
kind of like towards the end of a set, we'll just all right. Let's try to everyone bring their best deck and set up a tournament and see what happens. So we have done I don't know like 4 or 5 of those by now, or probably
That's
about
awesome.
4 or so. Yeah, so far I'm undefeated in those. So if you
There we go.
then at least there's something there. But yeah, it's been fun to do those, and we get 10 to 12 people on average usually. So
That's
sometimes
awesome.
they're just
Yeah.
people from across the company, but usually everyone involved with this design team will be there, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun to yeah give a little bit of it's time to try to win, just bring our best decks and really try to figure out what what a potential mate could look like.
Awesome. I love that. That's got to be so much fun. That's got to be awesome.
Definitely
Uh,
is.
so, as you started to transition from designing one game to another, what were some of the bigger hurdles you went through? Like, was there ever a moment where you're designing a card and then you realized you made 6 die sides on it, and you're like, wait, that was that was for Destiny. I'm making unlimited now.
Not quite that bad, but
Yeah.
yeah, working on Destiny for so many years, you just I don't know, just get ingrained in that emotion to do in that game, and we go from one game to the next. I mean, the biggest hurdle was probably going from like Destiny to Arkham, where that's like
Oh yeah.
complete opposite end of the spectrum with a cooperative, really RPG based game, very story driven, and yeah, just a completely different in many ways to Destiny. So that was definitely the biggest. Okay, like I had played Arkham for many years, played tested it for many years, so I was very familiar with the game. So it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I know what I'm doing. It was just like designing and developing was just a new challenge, and then to go from that to like unlimited back to a very competitive card game was definitely kind of flipping a switch in some ways. Okay, like just reverse it. How I went from Destiny to Arkham, I just kind of reverse it from Arkham to Destiny, or to Destiny or Arkham to Unlimited.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely way differences of each game, but there's still similarities. You know, every game has kind of what we call like a color pie where different factions and all do strengths and weaknesses, and make sure we show off stuff like that. And yeah, every game, like Arkham, has like an action system. It's limited action system, but there's definitely similarities as well. So you can definitely play off those and take inspirations from just some cool cards or whatnot from one game, and what would that look like if we try to do a card like that in this game? And all right, let's find out. And so it's definitely nice to have the experience of working on lots of different games, playing lots of different games over the decades.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, all that experience has to go somewhere, right? um,
Yeah,
and
it's definitely nice to be able to have that kind of backlog to if you ever get stuck, and just kind of think, all right, well, what would this look like for maybe a different game I'm working on, or just get an idea from looking back at some of especially Destiny. There's a lot of since Star Wars, they're both Star Wars games. A lot of times, like I don't know if you got this one character, well, what did it do with Destiny and like Greedo? Like I always loved the like Greedo design from Legacy. Like
yeah,
if you knock him out, well, he might fire back first, and he might get you, he might not. So I incorporate that into Limit as well, and it's like, oh yeah, it's kind of fun to be inspired by certain cards like that through from your past.
yeah, it definitely feels like Greedo is in the same vein, and that stuff like that is awesome to see. Now, these next two questions, this first one is a little bit half of kind of what we were just chatting about, but they are from our Discord. We open it up to some of those members, and so this first one is from Inception. So shout out to Garbage Rollers as well. But he asked, how has it been designing Star Wars Unlimited compared to Destiny? So this is what you mentioned a little bit, but I guess directly comparing the two games rather than with the LCGs in the middle.
Yeah, it's been a blast working on both games. Of course, both are Star Wars. That helps tremendously. I guess one big difference, besides the dice, is Unlimited has lots of units, so a lot more characters to put in the game. So it's been a lot of fun to be able to dive a bit deeper into the Star Wars lore and show off lots more stuff. There's more cards as a whole. Each set in Unlimited has more cards than we did for Destiny, so it's fun to be able to delve a bit deeper into Star Wars lore and get some of these characters. Yeah, we may never have gotten around to in Destiny. Now we have a lot more time to do that in Limited with your sets and just more units as a whole. I guess yeah, with the action system it's very similar there, but in other ways it's very different. With there's much more about the unit combat going on in Unlimited. I love the two arenas in Limited as well. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Helps sell the theme a little better. Where area space units clearly can fight space units, ground units, or combat with one another. Love that kind of interesting aspects of playing the game. Um, Definitely have some similarities with take the initiative, clean the battlefield. How important that it can be. I love newer players. They might not realize how important it can be just to take the initiative much sooner than you think. Like give up sometimes several actions you could do because you really need to go first next round. That can be game-winning moves. So it's fun to cards that might play off that as well. With if you pull initiative, you get a little bonus. There's lots of things took inspiration from Destiny that can port over, but limited is very different other ways with um, whole new set of possibilities to explore. I love the resource mechanic and unlimited. It's very fun to be able to draw two cards around and then resource any card in your hand. It gives you a lot more
Yeah.
agency over what you play. Sometimes some very difficult decisions. What you want to resource down. I love all the cards in my hand. Like, oh, what could I put down now to maybe not see the rest of the game? And I love the build up too. How unlimited. It's once the game goes long, you can generate a lot of resources. And I guess Destiny could be that way if you play a lot of upgrades and stuff that can generate resources. You could build those up, but much more consistent and unlimited. We can bring out some big power, some heavy hitters if you survive long enough. And like you said, the Devastator. That's like a 10 cost card. That's most guys won't play that, but the decks that do, it's
The
just
ones
sure
that
as fun
do.
to be able to
Yeah.
slap that thing down and just like, wow, look at this.
Yeah.
In Destiny, we didn't quite exact streams, having just massive, huge cards like that. It's hard to build up that many resources, especially your opponent, that disrupts. They can
Yep.
disrupt your resources, they can lose them as well. So it's a bit risky to even the card draw. And I guess Destiny was a bit easier as a whole. You could, play our cards or discard them to reroll dice and draw essentially 5 cards every round. So definitely made playing cards much easier where you just want to play a bunch of cheap stuff to maximize your card draw every round. This game, yeah, you can play some really big, expensive, cool cards and get those a lot of resources in play, which to me is very exciting to get some of those big capital ships and stuff like that we do in Destiny. Now that can be a pretty important part in this game of Unlimited.
Yeah, the resource system has been awesome, and one that the more I play, the more I see the skill expression of players, of like the ability to map out a few turns ahead of whether or not this card can be played or not. And I've definitely run into the situations where my starting hand I'll draw up, and then I'll just like look at them all. I'll love them all, and I'll put my hand down for a second. I was like, this is the
Mm-hmm.
perfect hand, great curve, and I was like, wait a minute, I have to get rid of 2 of these. What two do I
Yep.
actually want to put down? But yeah,
Yeah, that can be a very fun decision, but also very difficult sometimes. And yeah, sometimes you almost want to get like a okay starting hand where like, yeah, I don't want these 2 cards. I'll definitely research these two. Boom, I have to worry about that. And I hope you draw into your better cards the rest of the game. But yeah, it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes you get just amazing opening 6 cards. And it's like, oh, you really got plan ahead. What's your matchup? What all late the game you go? What's my key card to this matchup? And
yeah.
which I love. It gives the extra layer of skill that the good players will expect to rise kind of to the top here in tournaments. Will probably be a lot of familiar faces over the years of good players doing well at high level events.
Yeah, most definitely. And uh, one of the things that you had just mentioned kind of rolls into our second listener question. It was the point of, with so many more units and whatnot in this game, it allows you to kind of build deeper, right? Sometimes within Destiny, you would get a shot in like the third set to go a little deep, right? We had I believe the ninth set was Resistance, and that was really cool to see some of those characters come in. But it was almost like the second you were going deep, you had to go back and make sure you had a Vader and a Luke and a Leia, within the standard rotation stuff, and that stuff rotated out a little bit quicker. But this next question comes from Jedi Geek Girl, so shout out to Ira Bell as well. This is the second of the two. And she said one of the things we all seem to have loved is the depths of Star Wars that we have seen in the first set. Is this something that all the devs talk about and decide? Does this knowledge come from different members of the team or higher up? Is it something that you go to Wikipedia after you design the card and just kind of try to find something that fits? Or is it something that maybe is handed to you from, multiple levels up?
Oh yeah, pretty much all comes from the design team. So early on, we'll decide what kind of theme you want to do for this set. You've seen the first year, we've kind of focused on a couple of eras. We got the original trilogy era for set one. We got One Wars for set three. Set two isn't quite a specific era, but more just overall, kind of like bounty hunter smuggler kind of stuff. So early on, we'll decide what the main theme of the set will be, and yeah, we can come up with our own ideas of what characters, what kind of various events we want to fill that set with, especially the leaders. That's very important to start with the leaders and try to make sure those leaders are supported with several cards that can back up whoever their kind of play style is what we're aiming for. We have now a pretty large team, design team. So we have a lot of Star Wars fans. So we have a lot of knowledge with such a big team to come up with how this character or this one or what's that character like? Oh, it feels like this. We have a lot of discussions on how to represent characters, how to maybe come up with an ability that feels fitting, or lots of lots of fun moments. Just we're all big Star Wars fans, so it's a real pleasure to be able to work on IP like this on
Yeah.
not a card game, since most of us love card games as well. So it's kind of a dream come true. It's such a amazing marriage of theme and just game. So yeah, we do pretty much do it all ourselves. We do lots of time discussing stuff. So it's can be with such a big team, there's lots of opinions, but
Yeah.
eventually we'll kind of focus on overall theme and who to represent that team and what cards and I can always double check with LFL. They've been great to work with. So if we ever have questions, always ask them to get their opinion and see like does this sound like a good fit for the game? But yeah, there's definitely a lot of time spent trying to go off Star Wars in this game and we represent it well.
Yeah, I've been loving it the first set. I feel like there's so many characters already that, I'm just loving. I love that we have the full Spectre team. You have Hera as a leader. We see Sabine as a leader. Seeing Kanan and Ezra as units and stuff like that just makes it feel a little bit more fleshed out, right? Star Wars is a huge fan base. A lot of people like a lot of different things. So having all those options for people has been awesome so far. And we're just over halfway into the first set, so there's going to be a lot of that, and I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, this is just set one. Wait till we get sets 2 and 3 and beyond. There's
Yeah,
so much more to come.
yeah. Now, as you started to design, right, at some point you broke it down into 6 aspects, and I'm curious to see what is the one that you had the most fun designing, and you feel like you really left your fingerprint on that aspect.
That's a great question. Probably exclude villain heroism. Those are
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
just like they're very different aspects. The 4 other aspects are the ones I would kind of try to think about most. I guess I had a lot of fun designing cunning. I don't know, I had a lot of cool cards that I feel are quite strong and just make a cool cohesive decks that like Boba Fett. He's definitely a leader. I had a lot in. He's definitely one of the strongest. He definitely got pushed for several reasons, but yeah, he's been a lot of fun to play with. Very strong, very powerful. Of course, has a lot of cards that work well with him within the sets, like his fire spray that clearly you want to team up with him and just make a very very strong mono yellow deck. I love playing mono cunning because it definitely can be a very good tempo deck where it can potentially outrace aggro decks and it has potentially disruption there as well. It can harm your opponent or set them back, exhausting units, bouncing and whatnot. And stuff like no good to me deck and be an MVP just to buy enough time to outrace your opponents. So yeah, I had a pretty good hand in the cunning aspect and a lot of success. That's one of my first kind of pet decks was a Boba deck. That's one deck I really like. Yeah, this has a lot of potential. So it's been one of my favorites for quite some time now.
So if anybody ever gets, frustrated at cunning, feel free to call up Jeremy and say, "I see your
Yes,
fingerprint all over this."
yes, they definitely got some very strong cards. They also did some nerfs too. I remember like I think that might be the first office tournament we ran. I did a cunning Boba deck. Right after the tournament, I think some of these cards need to be nerfed. We nerfed at least 2 or 3 red for that because yeah, this is extremely strong. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's still quite powerful as well. So But we'll see. Yeah, it's just our kind of real stuff. It's always fun to see what the real world comes up with and surprises you. It's always been fun. One of the fun aspects of the job is to work on a competitive game where it's eventually some big high level tournaments. That's where people usually bring the A game, and a lot of times it's still something like, oh, I didn't really quite expect that. Oh, that's interesting, or sometimes it's awesome. That's cool. Let's have the whoops, like that's not what we expected. I mean, that's not the best thing
Yeah.
for the game, but we'll adjust. We're not perfect,
Yeah, it's already
so I
been
can't wait
mentioned that
for Unlimited.
you'll have like a banned and restricted list, so anything that gets by, I'm sure will get taken care of it.
Yeah, we'll definitely have tools to address things because we're humans. We can't do things perfectly, and
Yeah.
we if we never ban or restrict or any card at all, then I don't think we're not taking enough risks. We want to definitely take risks and push some things, and make really cool, awesome, exciting cards. And yeah, sometimes we'll go too far, but as long as we can have tools to address those times to make the game still feel overall healthy and robust, then I think overall it's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. And I do love that you mentioned mono cunning boba, because after the stream that we just had for cunning and getting the rare base, that was pretty much what I did.
Oh
I
yeah,
ran to a deck builder and I built a mono boba deck, played a few games into Brian with it, and it was a lot of fun. Cunning is an awesome card, the double aspect card as well. So I'm glad to hear
yes,
that
very powerful.
same wavelength as you, at least somewhat. Maybe not play skill wise, right? But ideas there at least.
Yeah, the base is also extremely powerful.
Yeah.
That's going to be probably a stable card for many decks. It helps you just get board control, and sometimes worst case scenario you can add 4 damage sometimes. So I'm on a race against an aggro deck. Sometimes you just use it to do that, but yeah, getting board control it can be very important in this game. That's a base. It can really help with that.
You mentioned Boba already, obviously, but are there any other of the spoiled leaders that you feel like, I don't know, best describes you as your play style or design philosophy, or somebody that you're really happy with how they turned out type thing?
Um, if I had to choose an archetype, I'm usually more towards the control archetype is my because if I had to prefer play style. I mean, I'll play anything, but
Yeah.
I definitely enjoy control as a whole. Something Vader, he's kind of like, he can definitely play a control deck if you want. He's versatile where you can do an aggressive Vader deck or mid range or control. That's why I love this game. There's a lot of flexibility of what you want to do, how you want to customize your deck. So yeah, Vader is nice to be able to do that if you want. I enjoy playing a lot of times kind of a ramp deck with Vader to put command cards in there like Overwhelming Barrage. Get his lightsaber on him with Overwhelming Barrage and just
Cool.
swing the game right there.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can definitely do some other tricks if you want, like the body, break him as well, and do damage on nowhere. You can do that. So I definitely enjoy playing Vader and Kong because it's also such one of the most iconic characters in all of Star Wars. It's just kind of fun to be able to sit down and yeah, pretend you're Vader and spew out some of those lines and then yeah, hopefully crush your opponents and get them to come over the dark side.
Is green your favorite aspect with Vader? Command your favorite aspect with Vader?
Um, I guess that's probably what I pair with most commonly, but Vader is versatile enough where yeah, you put cutting with him or
Yeah.
eventually you want. But I do like if you have like a 7 deploy leader, it's really nice to get some ramp in there to have that leader come up sooner and
Yeah.
to make a big impact. Especially Vader, since a 5/8 deal 2 damage to every turn to deploy him is it's gonna make a big impact. So getting that out as soon as possible, especially with his lightsaber and overwhelming barrage and that kind of stuff, can really create a yeah, very enough for your opponent to crack to get through that if you strive long enough. Yeah, some of these decks can be quite fast. Sabine, Boba, and all the
Yeah.
decks can it really put the pressure on you. Where sometimes you just don't try to get Vader out there, but if you do, yeah, that can be a real tough one for your opponent to get around.
Now that you say that, I do think in every demo video that you guys have put out so far. I think you have been Vader every time for the demo decks or the 2-player as well.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite leaders. Yeah,
Yeah,
weapons to have. But
he's been cool. We've recently been touching him with vigilance a little bit too. You know, now that
yeah,
Dooku unit got spoiled and a little bit like control elements with some of the good takedown and vanquish and stuff like that. It's been an interesting place.
yeah, I love vigilance as well. There's a lot of great cards there, and it's also fun to see cards get spoiled. And there's this weird metagame is out there right now where current cards spoiled is the metagame. So it's like it's very different from what we play tested. So it's very interesting to see like, oh, if I wasn't a designer, if I was like a players right now, like what kind of deck would I build right now in the current card spoiled, and what
Yeah,
would that metagame look like? And yeah, each card that gets spoiled can completely change a metagame. It's kind of a very unique time in this game's life.
yeah. It's been awesome to we've been doing gameplay videos for probably like a month and a half, and just it's been exciting to. Normally, I'm not this way, in that I'd rather just wait for the full set and build decks. But it's been so much fun. Like, oh, this is the meta right now. Oh wait, these 2-3 cards just got spoiled. This deck is suddenly very good, and this one's not as good anymore. It's been a lot of fun to see that evolve and grow.
Yeah, almost feels like a roller coaster where one day this feels like the best deck, and the very next day a couple cards are spoiled. Like, whoa, that changed everything. Now I rethink it all. What is the current best deck now, and it could change the very next week as well. And who knows what gets spoiled next? It's definitely a very cool moment to be part of.
Though I do have a slight bone to pick with Xander because up until today, actually, we were on a 12 card streak of cunning. You know, he's gotta give some other colors some love. I'm tired of Flock getting more tools for his Boba deck. You know, that's too much for him. um, I wanted to ask a little bit. What does the early process of development look for you? Right, as you're going into the first set, you know what the theme is. You know you're gonna have to have a Vader and a Luke, a Leia, a Han. All the iconic characters. What did it look like to develop some of these characters? Like, did you already know where you wanted to go with them? The balance of like Vader and Luke kind of being opposites. Like, how does some of that stuff start to develop?
Yeah, one of the earliest things was deciding what the starter leaders would be. So it felt very natural to Luke versus Leia. That's just the ultimate rivalries in Star Wars. So it definitely push those designs in a certain direction where we kind of want to be kind of fun. We can maybe meet each other in some ways, and so we kind of started with that. We're just all right. What's some cool effects we could do since they're starters? I want to make sure they're easy to learn and play with, but still interesting. So
Yeah.
the vigilance likes to get shields. I felt very appropriate to Luke to get shields, and what's a nice common play for that? Well, red likes to deal damage. Just dealing one damage would pop off a shield. So maybe Vader could do something like that. So it's just kind of fine tuning from there. But initial design, we tried maybe a few other things here or there, and Luke probably went through a few other iterations. But like fairly early on, we settled on that kind of direction to go with him. And yeah, development is mostly just doing lots of play testing and iterations, tweaking this, tweaking that, fine tuning things, and just getting lots of feedback data from various people. And the early development can be a bit rough. Just got a lot of cards that maybe hadn't seen any play whatsoever, and just throw numbers in cards just to get something out there to test with. And
Yeah.
so it can be a pretty wild environment in early development because a lot of crazy and balanced stuff here or there. So, but in time we'll start fine tuning stuff and dialing some stuff in and some redesigns here or there. If maybe this card isn't quite working the way we want, try scrapping this current ability and try something new. And there's lots of factors as well. Like, of course, constructed play is very important, but also draft and sealed. So the cards are intended for certain environments like that. Others are just top-down designs. Others are bottom-up designs where theme first or mechanics first. Like, both be very important. So there's lots of factors that go into developing Star Wars Unlimited, but it's always it's a lot of fun to be able to work on such a great IP and then such a fun game with a a lot of different ways to play, a lot of different things that people like about Star Wars Unlimited. That yeah, I love drafting Limit myself. It's such a cool way to play the game, but I also love to design my own decks, come up with
Yeah.
maybe we haven't seen this before. Let's see what happens. And so yeah, I like to get a wide variety of stuff in there. It's been a blast overall.
Yeah, I really can't wait to get my hands on a pre-release March 1st. Cannot come fast enough. That
Definitely.
when you designed say a handful of cards, or maybe it was a something that stuck on the table like a leader, a little bit more. Is there somebody at the office that you like to go to directly and be like, "This is my idea. This is what I want to do. Let's play a game. I want to test it out, and I want to get your thoughts on it as well."
Better every single time. Just
Yeah,
Sander.
that's awesome.
No. Just whoever's around. Like we go in the office. We tend to work from home for the most part, but we do go in the office, once or twice a week to yeah, play test in person and just have discussions in person. So a lot of times, yeah, just whoever's around. Which early on was Danny, Tyler, and I were together quite a bit. So it'd be usually one of those two that would maybe see the initial idea here or there. Or sometimes we talk about it ahead of time too in meetings and whatnot. But a lot of times we just actually sit and play a game. It'd be one of those two early on. And we have a much bigger team. So yeah, it just depends who's there. And yeah, sometimes Ender will join us. Yeah, we have people outside the team that can join us in play testing as well. So it's always fun to
Yeah.
get people like that involved and get their feedback as well. Because yeah, Star Wars, like I said, means something different to a lot of people. So we want to make sure we appeal to a wide audience.
Yeah, and Xander just starts taking out his One Piece deck, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna go find Tyler, or I'm gonna find Danny. um, that's awesome. Now, I don't know how much you've been up to date on community reactions, like in tune with either Discord or podcasts or anything, or maybe just even from some of the gameplay videos, right? You're not seeing a certain card played a lot. Is there a card that you feel like the community is currently sleeping on, or something that you're kind of surprised we're not playing a lot of? Now, of course, it could be a card it has some more value as the full set's out and it has a combo or things that it works with. But yeah, are there any cards right now that you're like, man, people got to wake up to this?
I mean, nothing that sticks out. I see a lot of different reactions as a whole. I mean, yeah, the game's not even out yet, so a lot of people, have very different opinions, and some people maybe haven't had a chance to really play the game much yet. So we have
Yeah.
a wide variety of opinions as a whole. So yeah, it's hard to say like the card that's university is kind of like, oh, it's not very good. That I think is like, well, that's one you guys are missing on. It's really always stands out. Any cards in particular that you feel are maybe not seeing the reception you think should? I could maybe agree with you or disagree with you.
Ooh, putting me on the spot. I like that. Um, yeah, I feel like most of the cards so far have been in within theme and uh have been pretty good. Like within it, they've already got kind of synergies coming out. There's not a lot of card like Grand Inquisitor struggles because he doesn't really have a lot of support or things like within his package yet. Everything else seems decently fleshed out. But I will say I haven't had the chance to play with him a lot, but it does seem like people are down a little bit on Thrawn, and I'm very excited to play him. I don't really have like a big opinion yet, but just from looking at him, he seems really good. But I know some people are saying he's too slow, or uh, the exhaustibility isn't as impactful as you might hope. So he's one that I think might be better than perceived, but also I have no idea because I haven't played with him yet. So
Yeah, it's a good example to choose. One of the biggest problems with Thrawn is he's the same aspect as Boba, so it's like Boba is
yeah,
he's an all star definitely. So it's kind of like what's a good reason to play Thrawn over Boba? That's probably the toughest, the biggest thing against Thrawn is yeah, you got Boba right there to compete with. But yeah, Thrawn is. I mean, 6 deploy is a big difference from 5 deploy. So and yeah, only 3 power compared to like 4 or 5 power is also yeah. Depends on the deck ability. Clearly, Thrawn would want to play more of the late game, which Cunning isn't the best at doing late game. They're they can, but they're more of a tempo color with like the in the
yeah,
moment now. And temporary advantage and late game advantage, not as much, but do maybe pair Thrawn with like vigilance if you want to do like a over control style late game. He's definitely fun to play with. It's definitely yeah, Thrawn's one of my favorite characters in Star Wars, so it's fun to be able to see people's reactions and be like, okay, yeah, that feels like Thrawn. I can't wait to try him out. And we went through a couple other iterations early on with him, and one iteration was very, very way out there that I really liked, really latched onto. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. So maybe too crazy to ever see the light of day, but it was definitely fun to play with a little bit. So always remember that version, that initial version's designed for Thrawn. It was felt a lot like Thrawn to me, but was yeah maybe a bit too fiddly overall. So this version I think ended pretty well.
Maybe that can be the play a designer game. It'll be an old iteration of a leader that you can bust out.
Wouldn't that be fun? Yeah, great idea.
Yeah, we'll pitch that to Xander right when we're done this.
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever happen, but that would be cool.
Yeah. And that kind of actually even rolls into a little bit of the next question is, I broke it into two separate things, right? Is there a leader who went through the most changes, and then is there like a card in your deck that went through the most changes? You know, you can answer both, you can answer one, but yeah, is there a card that kind of sticks out that we've seen that you're like, man, there were like 30 different iterations of this card. We took us a while to land on it.
I mean, quite a few we tweet for just balance reasons over and over, but
Yeah.
there weren't too many that are completely redesigned over and over. It's a lot of tweaking.
Good. I mean,
Probably
yeah,
be,
that's good that you mostly hitting the mark on the first go, right?
well, yeah, we definitely put a lot of work in some of them, but trying
Yeah.
to think like some of the like a major overhauls at least once or twice would be the best. You know, like Thrawn, you got some. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Thrawn is probably a good example with several iterations there and some drastically different from other ones. There's a different special leader that went through a lot. I suppose Tarkin that I redesigned a couple times.
I love where he's at now.
I guess
Tarkin is such a cool character now. I like the experience tokens that he's dishing out.
yeah, I guess like Grandma Tarkin leader. They went through at least a couple different versions, and before we ended up on the Imperial Matters version, where really set one is set in the Galactic Civil War, so you want to make sure Imperial and Rebels were major theme of this set, where of cards played off that to make you want to build like very heavily focused on Imperial or Rebel deck. But if you want at least one leader to show that off, so eventually we decided, yeah, Tarkin. We had some other versions of him, but eventually, no, let's do like a Tarkin and Leia as their kind of showcase leaders for the Imperial versus Rebels archetype, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think Tarkin turned out pretty well to give experience to Imperial units. It's a nice ability to have, and yeah, definitely want to put enough Imperial units in your deck to make sure you can improve that ability, and it feels thematically on point for Tarkin as the kind of a leader to make your Imperial stronger.
Awesome. Love to. Yeah. That those two decks as well have been some of my early favorites to play, at least. Tarkin Aggression and Leia with Cunning. Both those have been fun. They felt like swarms of troopers just hitting the battlefield. Leia's attacking with multiple. Tarkin's giving out advice, giving him some experience, a pat on the back, and it's been a lot of fun.
Definitely a pat on the back.
Yeah, he's definitely kind and gentle type leader, right?
Spot on.
Yeah. All right, so we're getting into the last few questions, but these actually might be some of my favorite questions that we have here. And so the first one is, how do you feel about this game's variance? And so the example that sometimes people can talk about, does it lend itself to chess or more to poker compared to other CCGs? Are you happy with where the variance in this game has landed?
But yeah, I think that straddles a pretty good middle ground between those where you can build. There is quite a bit of consistency within the game where you do draw quite a few cards during the game. You have a lot of choices on which cards you want to play versus resource. You got that kind of dual aspects of each card where you can use it as what it does itself by playing it, or else flip it over as resource. So, but definitely in each round you get to resource one card per round, so you slowly build up resources to to be able to curve out fairly consistently. You don't have to worry about missing a resource and throwing off your whole curve. Of course, leaders as well. It's hard to play with a leader you choose of your choice, and you potentially build your deck all around that leader. That leader can be deployed pretty consistently every game. Again, don't need to miss a resource at all. You can guarantee you get that resource in return until you have enough to deploy your leader. So yeah, there's a lot of consistency built within that way, but also it is a card game. So yeah, sometimes draws can be very important. Yeah, sometimes somebody gets an amazing draw, opponent doesn't get a great draw. Sometimes misses their first or second turn play, does nothing. Yeah, it can be hard to come back from those plays, but we definitely want to have that happy middle ground where you feel like you have enough agency, but not too much, where games can feel scripted, where it's like, well, I
Yeah.
can bother playing this matchup. I have no chance. Like you're gonna crush me every single time. So you still want to have hopefully enough involved where yeah, sometimes you just don't get that great draw, and you might have a great matchup on paper, but you got a pretty bad draw. You do nothing turn one, or maybe you miss your turn two play, and now it's like it's gonna be a real close game here, and you might not pull it off, especially if your opponent has an amazing draw, they curve it perfectly, and you just don't have the right answer to a threat. Sometimes that happens too, where your deck has answers, but you're not finding the right answer. Your opponent just has this one threat that you just can't take care of, and it just goes
Yeah.
distance. So I feel it has a pretty good balance between like chess and poker.
Brian has coined the strategy of taking the initiative first action first round. So he's been on the bad end of some mulligans. But I'm starting to question like how many turn one plays you put in your deck. Maybe we got to start to up that number to
Increase it.
help with that variance.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing. Again, you have enough agency to build your deck, so yeah, take a look at that, and maybe it's just not enough, and yeah, increase it until you feel like there's enough, and
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen too often, because yeah, it's a bummer to not do anything turn one if your deck is built to have a turn one play, which most decks should at least try to do something. And I've seen some control decks still go like, yeah, I'm fine taking turn one off, and yeah, try to survive long enough to have their late game threats really take over. But most decks, yeah, you want to do at least something turn one.
Yeah. Uh, and now I think this next one is a pretty important one, especially uh, just given previous circumstances of Destiny making it to how many sets did that end up? Was that 10 sets?
Nine.
9, right? And then the
Oh,
10th.
nine got released. Yeah,
Yeah,
we did it on the 10th one that unfortunately never got officially released.
yeah. Um, and so the thing that's on a lot of people's minds, yeah, is the longevity, right? People could see that FFG normally makes good games. The issue might not be the game, but one exciting part about Unlimited is that you're already talking about set 9, right? You already have things that mapped out, and there's at least conversations already ahead, and they've mentioned roadmaps 3, 4, 5 years into the future. So the ninth set has already been talked about for this, where that's what Destiny eventually made it to. So that is exciting for us to hear, but I'm sure as a game designer, that's got to be um, almost difficult. So what does it look like as a designer to think about how, well, I need to design a game that has a standard and a draft and constantly coming out with new things. So what do you keep in mind when you're designing for longevity within a card game?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's lots of things to keep in mind. If you want each set should be very exciting and push innovation, at least to some degree, something new and fresh and different. And that can be done in various ways. Mechanics are the biggest thing. I try to do at least some new mechanic or multiple new mechanics to really, get people interested to see, oh, like that sounds really cool. I want to try that out. Of course, with Star Wars, it's just such a huge depth of lore to incorporate. Like that's something we can easily do is just eventually get around to hopefully your favorite character or favorite place in Star Wars or moments. It'll take some time since there's a lot of content to get to. So
Yeah.
that definitely helps us, pacing ourselves. And I think overall pacing ourselves is one good thing. We don't do too much too soon. Overwhelm players with doing getting too much complexity or overwhelming players with stuff that like hold on, this is going a little too fast for me. I'll go too slow as well. Where I still want to have each set really feel unique and different and stand out from one another mechanically and thematically, ideally. Have kind of new environments, especially with draft and seal. Try to have each set kind of really feel different in those environments, especially. Uh, yeah, constructed as well. Try to make sure the meta game keeps evolving and changing, doesn't get too stale, which definitely can happen. But it's definitely a goal to try to push the power level enough where things will get shaken up, but not too drastically. Where suddenly one set just upends everything and doesn't feel like the game anymore. We want to stick to our basics or principles of going straight too far from what we set in
Yeah.
the foundation of set one here. So there's definitely lots of things to think about, but overall it's a balance of a lot of things. Don't go too far one direction or the other.
Yeah, I think having so many designers as well, I'm sure helps that. You got so many eyes on it. You got people that can constantly bring in new ideas on that. So uh, I'm excited for
Yeah,
that. And I guess, and you kind of mentioned it a little bit too, but almost are there things that you are doing, or how difficult can it be to kind of keep power creep from happening each set? Right, you always want new and fresh ideas, but sometimes it can kind of feel bad if set two is so much obviously better than set one that set one's not even worth buying anymore, or it feels like wasted product a little bit. But what are some things, and what are some of the difficulties of balancing each set from one to another?
it's definitely challenging. I guess using Destiny as an example, set two definitely upend the power level quite a bit very quickly, like clearly too much. Like whoa, like this isn't good for the game to release that much really strong cards all at once. And just outclass a lot of set one cards. And then once I got involved with Destiny with set three, so I was like, let's try to get back to a little bit
Yeah.
more set one territory. Let's not keep putting the pedal down. So set three turned out maybe a little too safe. Like after the reaction to set two is like, let's dial things back here. Let's play it more safe. But maybe it was looking back a little bit too safe. I was kind of like, the most exciting set. So on set four, I was like, all right, let's try to take what we learned with sets two and three and kind of try to find a middle ground where, all right, we got some really cool, innovative cards, some very powerful cards, but not too far like set two. I mean, certain cards here, there, sure, but just as a whole, I felt like, all right, maybe Legacy's a kind of
Legacies was
the happy
awesome.
medium.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to be a very well received set as a whole. It's a lot of people's favorite set for the game's lifespan, so I felt very good. Yeah, when we designed and developed that set, like, all right, this kind of feels like a good spot to be in. So yeah, hopefully
Yeah.
with Limited, we can kind of get that Legacies feel where every set brings some really cool, innovative stuff, some powerful stuff to shake up the meta game. Not too far, not too crazy, where it just upends everything. And now set one is like, oh, what happened? Like you guys just I go off the rails here too quickly. So it's very challenging now because we want to on the happy medium, but we all
Yeah.
have our opinions and what that is and what that looks like. And sometimes you just miss some things. That does happen. We have lots of cards. The card pool is rapidly expanding. We only have so much time to play test and try to figure a lot of stuff out. So not easy. It's a fun challenge. I definitely like to think about it all the time and keep pushing cool stuff, powerful stuff, but make sure we pace ourselves. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely important to try to maintain as close to power level as we can with each set. But yeah, we'll see how we do.
I do. I like that you pointed out set two, because I feel like every now and again I wake up in a cold sweat thinking about FN 2199 and his baton and all those overwrites.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal. So
He actually, funny enough, I think it was by Legacies, because I remember him playing him in pods. FN 219 and Talzin with that 3-point plot to like get an extra resource, profitable connections, maybe I think it was. Um, that might have been like one of my favorite decks that I've ever played. That was so much fun, and he felt more. That was after like the overwrite update and stuff like that, so he was a little bit
yeah,
more balanced by then. But yeah,
I think
I,
once he's balanced, much funner, more in line, just fair to play against.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, still fun to play with.
Yeah,
And Talzon is always one of my favorites. It was my personal favorites of Earth Design over Destiny's Lifespan. A lot of people
Yeah,
really love Talzon. It just deck building that kind of pushed it towards odd cost cards. Okay, that's kind of different. You hear about odd cost cards before then. Now it's something you did.
Yeah, kind of gives you that the ability to craft your deck in like a unique way that isn't always so prevalent, and you get a bonus from doing that as well, which is really cool.
Yeah, definitely something we try to do is give people tools to do just different stuff and give them a reason to do different stuff, try different stuff. Here's the reason why.
Yeah,
Who'd ever want to get all odd costs before Talzin? Yeah, nobody. But
yeah.
here comes Talzin along. Oh, okay. Here's the reason why. How that can be fun. Like, oh, that's a very different way to think about deck building. Is it's trying to make people rethink how what they might their mindset in the current game state, and maybe get them to think about it in a whole new way.
So I think we've done a really good job. I think you've explained and answered these questions well, and I'm just really excited, not only for the future but also like the here and now of set one, and how this game is crafted, how you've kind of explained of you guys building leaders, talking about longevity, talking about balance, talking about design, and bringing in so many different Star Wars characters as well. All of that is good, but I've been very excited for this next part, and I almost at this point now consider you the Santa Claus of Minnesota because you've brought some goodies with you. And this was actually Xander's idea, so I'm excited to see it. But you have two spoilers with you that I haven't looked at, and so you're gonna get my fresh reaction to them, I guess. Right, every time we do a podcast, right, I already have them loaded up. I've seen them before, but everybody's gonna get my fresh and hot takes with the spoilers that you are bringing, Jeremy. So I don't know if you want to. I do have them. He emailed them to me. I haven't opened them up yet, so I don't know if you want me to open them up and read them, or if you want to read them. Whatever your preference is, I'm down for.
Yeah, I'd love to have you open up and read them just to get your initial impressions right off the bat.
Okay, sounds good to me. Oh, you said I'm gonna read them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool.
Yeah, don't get your hopes up too high. Just like a common and uncommon, nothing.
Well, that's what.
Nothing like a leader crazy.
Yeah, I figure all the leaders so far, I believe, have been spoiled by FFG directly on like one of those Friday or Friday tweets or articles. So.
True. Yeah.
But all right, let's bring this up. So, the first one that I have is Medal Ceremony. It is a zero cost event. It has just one icon. It has a heroism icon, and it says give an experience token to each of up to 3 rebel units that attacked this phase, and this is a common card. And before we even get into the card, the amount of disrespect on this art just feels so real. 3 rebel units. You see Luke, Leia, and Han all standing there with their medals. And then there's poor Chewie just standing in the front without a medal. He does not get an experience token. Everybody else does but Chewie. But this seems really awesome from my experience, and obviously curious to see where you kind of fall with it. Experience tokens have obviously been good. I think Tarkin's a very good leader. I think people like General Tag are really good as well, just handing out experience, wing leader, all that stuff. Really, really good. And the fact that this card costs 0, if I even hand out 1, I'm pretty happy, and 2 and above seems ecstatic. Right, it's got the weird point of, both must have attacked this round, but you could realistically play this on the end of your turn 2, give out 2 experience tokens to units that just attack. So I like this a lot. It definitely can be weird in that it's situational. And so, I could see it end up being a hard time to slot in within a 50, but I think, at least within my Sabine deck, I think almost all my 1 and 2 drops are rebels. So I'm almost tempted to slot this in because it doesn't cost me any resources, and that deck doesn't go beyond 4 to 5 resources.
Yeah, I think fun fact, I believe this is the only 0 cost card in the set 1, so it doesn't happen too often to have a card that's just free just to play it. So
yeah,
there is a fairly high ceiling. 3 experience. If you get the full 3 experience, that's probably good value. It's just there's a hoop to jump through with attacking with 3 different rebel units. It's definitely easier to do in certain decks than other decks. This is clearly one of the rebel payoffs. It says a lot of Imperial versus rebels. Here's one reason to pack your deck full of rebels. So try to get that full 3 awards out of its medals. So I do kind of like the sorted towels where you send 3 your rebels into combat. If they survive and win the battle, they get rewarded. They get first experience, combat experience, and then kind of represents the medal as well with the token to each of them. And it's kind of a fun kind of top-down design to start with. And yeah, mechanically they can work in rebel decks. It's yeah, we'll see how competitive it is, but it's definitely has potential.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely something you'll have
Also has
to. The rebel, yeah, tag as well or trait. I believe
the
is the
rebel
official.
traits. We do sometimes do that. It's not just units that can have rebel imperial. We can do
Yeah.
events and other cards as well. Sometimes if they call it a rebel, then we can often do like a rebel trait to go with it on the event as well. So, which certain cards could play off that, certain they might not. But yeah, it's not just unit traits. The rebel can appear on other cards as well.
Yeah, like a good example is with the unit Tarkin, right? He searches for Imperial and maximum firepower. Um, so if you need removal, you could grab that out of your deck, and then things with Hera, right? If there's out of aspect, which I believe we got one of them. Blanking on the
Yes.
name, or was it? Is it Spirit Rebellion or Spirit Rebellion?
Yeah.
Um, Spark of Rebellion. Sorry.
And
That is a
Wish Destiny.
Spectre event. Yeah, really. You guys are really throwing me off with the SOR of these sets.
Yes. Yes. Spark Rebellion is
Yeah.
as a Spectre trait. So yep.
Yeah, you can bring those into Hera decks even if you're not running yellow, which that is
Yep.
the color of that. So that could be really cool. Yeah, if heroism gets a searcher much like Tarkin, they can include that for rebel traits or something like that. Would be really cool to see, and up the value, right? Because if you can guarantee you see this on turn 2 or turn 3, you're probably a lot more happy than if you're top decking it late game or something like that. So yeah, I think this would be cool in the Leia Swarm deck I mentioned, and then might even try it in a Sabine deck as well. So I'm a fan.
Cool.
All right, we'll move on to the second card that you brought. So let's bring this up. All right, we have another event. It's a 2-cost hero cunning. Has both of those aspects on it. It is called Bamboozle, and this is a trick. And it says you may discard a cunning card from your hand instead of paying this event's cost. And it says exhaust a unit and return each upgrade on it to its owner's hand. And this is an uncommon. So we got more exhaust. My direct comparison probably goes right to No Good to Me Dead. As that's, I guess you could say, like the villain equivalent to cost exhaust, kind of similar ballpark, both uncommons. Currently, I think from my perspective at least, is that returning upgrades isn't as crazy. At least in this current time, right? Sometimes the big ones you see will be Vader or Luke, and returning those to hand might feel a little bit bad because then they can ping damage or do damage. But definitely returning stuff like the Fallen Lightsaber, right? The 3-cost or things that don't necessarily have on-play effects will definitely feel a lot better. And then just paying 2 to exhaust somebody is really good. And I like that we've seen a 2-cost exhaust and have so many different rewards. Right? You have Leia, that's a 2-cost exhaust, but you get a unit, you get a 2/2 unit. Asteroid Sanctuary, Flockton's favorite card, you get a shield from that. No Good to Me Dead, you don't necessarily get anything on your board, but you keep them exhausted for another round. So this is really cool. And I have a question for this that you probably have the answer to. So it's exhaust a unit and return each upgrade on it to its owner's hand. Experience and shield tokens are upgrades. Would they go to the owner's hand? What would happen if I play that on somebody with a shield?
Well, the shield would not go to the owner's hand. It's a token.
Okay.
It simply gets set aside. So it essentially defeats those cards. Essentially, instead of being returned to hand, they just go back to being set aside play.
That is awesome. I like that a lot, especially we just talked about how much we like experience. If I can exhaust the unit and all those tokens, experience tokens, go off of him, that seems like a pretty good value to me.
Yeah, so it's great against especially shields and experience tokens, and yeah, I'll think essentially get rid of them. Yeah, some decks will love to output a bunch of experience on you, to even shields sometimes, and get multiple shields on you. It can be real tough to get to, especially if they have Sentinel. It's like, oh, it can yeah. Sometimes decks will have a problem going against archetype like that. So this is, I think, can be a good sideboard card if there's a lot of strategies in our game. The strategy is kind of the Voltron strategy, where you build up one unit, just load up a bunch of upgrades on a unit,
Yeah.
and then attack sometimes multiple times in the same round if you can ready them. Give them Sentinel, so there's a big wall that your opponent has a really tough time getting through. Want to make sure we have enough answers out there for multiple strategies. So the primary reason to design this card is for an answer to if Voltron ever gets out of hand, where a lot of the time leaders are good targets to build up lots of upgrades on them, because leaders kind of have built-in immunity. A lot of cards will say a non-leader, so they're unaffected by a lot of cards. So yeah, some powerful decks can slap a bunch of upgrades on their leader and swing away and potentially ready them multiple times in the same phase and win pretty quickly that way. So this is a card that can help counter that strategy, where there goes all those upgrades or back to their hand, or else disappear with their XP or shields, and also exhaust them. That can also be
Yeah.
quite useful if your opponent is piling up a bunch of stuff on one big unit. So you can just exhaust them and buy you a lot of tempo. And then another cool aspect of this card is you can pay it for free. If you discard your card
Yep.
from your hand, costs you 0. That even includes after penalties. So yeah, you put this card in this cunning deck and discard a cunning card to play for free if you really wanted to. So yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of exhausting yield. That's one of their big features. Rating cunning. That's one of their primary mechanics is exhausting. So we have double cards with set one that shows it off. This is one that's a little more narrow. It's not quite as powerful, especially Give Me Dead or Layout. Those are really very strong cards. But there's a different role for more of a safety valve for in case people love to do the Voltron stuff, and all right, here's the reason to help with that strategy if you go against that.
Get those chewy decks out of here. Those
Yeah,
beefy
he's a good example of
chewies.
putting a bunch of stuff on. Just he's a massive walking carpet on the ground there. The decks can struggle with getting past him, so
Yeah.
this card can at least help, and he still has lots of hit points himself. But
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
but yeah, there's
Chewy can't catch a break on either of these cards. One of them he's not getting an experience token. The other one he's getting demoted to just a walking carpet. But those are awesome. I appreciate you picking these out. I know that Xander gave you just a list of a handful of ones, but I am going to track him down. And when the full set is spoiled, I'm going to have to find out what the other options were, and that'll determine if I have you on again or if I buy you beer at Worlds, whatever it might be.
awesome. I can't wait.
um,
Yeah, there's the one card that's I would do him, but it's very simple and straightforward. Like, it's a good card, but
yeah,
very simple. It's like not as interesting as one of these two that could show up something a little bit different, or at least have a little more story behind it. And say, well, that's all it does. It's just it's good, but much more to talk about. So yeah, I'm curious if you do learn eventually, and yeah, maybe let me know when I see at Worlds there, like if you would prefer a different card over one of these two.
no, I'm not picky. I'm happy with whatever. So that'll be good. And the last little bit, I mean, we're almost at an hour and a half here, so this is a lot of good conversation. I hope that you're not too upset with me that taking up too much of your time tonight.
Yeah, I'm never coming back. That's it. We're done.
We're gonna essentially just close a little bit with almost just curious, as a designer of the game, what does release kind of look like for you? With pre-release, with actual release, like. Do you think you'll be doing a pre-release? Do you have the opportunity? Are you going to be buying product? Things like that. So what does that release pre-release week and then release weekend look like for you?
Yeah, I'll definitely be going to a local pre-release. Been waiting for that weekend for years and years now, so super thrilled to finally be able to experience that and yeah, get people's reaction firsthand. I was at Gen Con earlier this year, and yeah, it's so cool to just to talk to fans and players of the game and just hear firsthand of what they think, and especially at pre-release when the full set will finally be available. Just a lot more things to talk about and people's thoughts. So yeah, I'll definitely be there. But yes, we can play in low level tournaments like a pre-release. High level tournaments we can't, but
Yeah.
a low level one, yes. I assume we'll play. We'll see. The tournament, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I definitely plan on showing up to at least one, and maybe multiple. See what the how our area pans out. We do have a very good gaming scene in the cities here, so I imagine stores will be running pre-releases. So yeah, maybe we'll try to hit up multiple.
I definitely would cry a little bit if I went to a sealed event and sat across from you. This is my first game. And just kind of pack it up. Be like, these promos were nice, the packs were nice. We're taking the L here. um,
It's such a memorable experience to play against the designer, right? Who cares if we win or lose, right?
oh yeah.
Yeah, of course, right?
I will never
I'll go easy on
forget
you.
Thronkar, and I won't say for what reason that was, but
I won't either.
yeah. Uh, but that's good. That was actually going to be my next question. A little bit was do you ever get a chance to compete? Do you ever I guess miss the chance of sweeping every FFG game they come out with the World Championships?
Yeah, times, yeah, it's definitely a little different way to play games. They really try to play at a high level and think and those reps in and just interact with the game in a very different way. But also, yeah, very happy with the other side of the fence. It's very, again, it's totally different. And a lot of things learned over the years and a lot of fun I've had. So, yeah, I'm very overall happy with where I'm at. And yeah, I do miss competing at time to time, but it's also been so many years now. I feel like, yeah, I'm definitely probably got a lot of rust over those years that might take a while to shake off. But I did compete with Destiny a little bit early on, just, getting small local tournaments, nothing I love it all, just early on there when it came out. And yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. I remember, I think it was the Jingo Bala Stormtrooper deck that
Oh yeah,
I showed up with that very early on. I'd be like, whoa, that looks pretty good. Do some pretty crazy stuff. So a little while, that caught it for a little while there, but eventually the metagame got a bit more tuned with set one there, especially when the first Worlds finally came around. Yeah, some success early on with deck like that, and eventually, yeah, play some local tournaments here or there, but not a ton. It's I don't know, it can be difficult to get out sometimes to have events, and then some players. I don't know. Over the years, I've definitely had ups and downs of playing games that I've worked on or even play tested. I've been play testing games at FOG for 11, 12, yeah, well over 11 years now. So yeah, it's kind of maybe not the most fair way to have knowledge behind the scenes and stuff. So I definitely like to compete too much or do. Some just take it easy. Where it's very low level stage. Who cares? Win or lose,
yeah,
hopefully it doesn't matter. I don't want people to get upset that I have unfair advantage. Of course, all sorts of stuff that they don't want to know, and so I don't do too much competing. If I do, yeah, very low level, but it's definitely nice to just get out and interact with people and yeah, just experience stuff firsthand.
yeah. That's and I asked that too because in the article that I found that I referenced at the beginning about Netrunner and your Warhammer wins. There's a picture of you holding both trophies, and it's like the most baller thing that I've seen. Just two trophies, same company, and then there's two banners behind it as well, right? The Netrunner and the Warhammer Invasion next to each other. I was like, that picture is awesome.
Yeah, that was a great deal. I'll never forget.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. Well, yeah. I mean, we can start to wrap up. Really appreciate you coming on, and I want to ask. I know PAX Unplugged is going to be happening soon. I know FFG is going to be there. Are you going to be at PAX Unplugged? Are there any other events that people might be able to be on the lookout for you and shake your hand, meet you, get a chance to play a demo game with you?
Yes, I will be at PAX Unplugged. My first time going to the event, so I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be out in Philadelphia, I believe December 1st to December 3rd. So
Yep.
fairly quickly. So yeah, I'll be there, and yeah, feel free to come up and chat, and yeah, I love to just talk with people, and yeah, that's why I don't do too much traveling. So NCon and that's now the plan. We'll see in the future. Hopefully, a bit more next year once the game is officially released. Maybe I can get out and do a bit more as a whole. But yeah, for at least for now, that's my one event I definitely will be at.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I will personally see you there then, as well as PAX.
Awesome. Like
PAX Unplugged is my neighborhood, basically.
that's right. You're from Philly, so cool. I look forward to seeing you in person there and hanging out. And you can definitely buy me that beer.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll apologize in advance because tonight I was able to shield you from Flock, but there's no promises at PAX. Flock will be there
Oh,
in person. So,
maybe I should buy your beer for that then.
yeah, I actually really hope that maybe we can set it up so Flock plays you for one of the demo games, and even though it'll be the demo decks, you'd be surprised at how many cards he still doesn't actually know what they do and hasn't read. So it'll be an experience. You'll know what it's like.
Look forward to it. Yeah, definitely.
um, awesome. Well, Jeremy, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate you doing this, and to me, this means so much because we weren't able to get it done in the past, and this continues to show how different of a company, I guess you could almost say, of just how awesome FFG has been, and things have changed, and having you and Xander and Tyler, Danny, MJ, so many different people working that we've seen the faces of that, and it just makes me excited for the game. And I want to thank you for coming on.
And thank you for having me on and for just having a podcast going and sticking with FFG. Yeah, we had a lot of fun, great moments with Destiny, and we're hoping people can stick with us and give Unlimited a try. And a lot of people will be surprised with we've learned a lot of things over the years, and really excited for the future.
Awesome. Well, also appreciate anybody that listens to Golden Dice Podcast, that watches our gameplay videos. We do and post everything onto YouTube, and you can check us out on Facebook, on Twitter, on all those things, and be sure to follow us and give us a like. And appreciate you sticking around if you've been here this long. And we will catch you next time with episode 12.